Good morning, this is Joshua coming to you again from Chilliwack, and this will be the second part of the free share. I think it's video 148 or something like that. And I was going to do it on the laptop, but it basically it's just a talk on how we can bring together specific technologies that are divinely inspired by the Lord, like the Guide process that's now being used in France, given to Paul Pantene. And this process basically takes a biogas and it converts it into a plasma fuel, so you actually have matter that's in the third state that through the Guide process is converted into a higher state fuel, which is able to run a diesel genset or two-stroke engine to where you have zero carbon content, right? So you got a zero carbon footprint. All the carbon is being converted into energy, and to where your exhaust is actually enriched oxygen, and so you got a win-win situation there. So if you take this and you couple it with a Joe pipe, and if you guys go back and study the Joe pipe, I believe that if Stanley Meyer's work was used in conjunction with the Joe pipe as the fuel source, where you could take hydrogen, and it should be the hydrogen should be separated from the oxygen to where you could actually recombine it into the atomic state through the Joe pipe. That's basically what the Joe pipe does. It does convert matter from the exothermic to the endothermic state, which is, as you know, that Brown's gas or hydroxy is in the atomic state, right? It has a lot more punch, and as it's an untanked fuel. So if you take the Joe pipe and say if you're using hydrogen as a primary fuel to get it going, and just theorizing what might take place on here, it should increase the spin of the vortex, the velocity of the vortex, to where the pipe will become cooler in comparison, and there's a lot more energy in hydrogen, so it's going to spin much faster and create much more heat. But in comparison, the overall would be the pipe would be cooler, and the heat would be concentrated in the outflow, and so you would have this exhaust spinning around on the inside of the pipe at supersonic speeds to keep it from going into meltdown. And at the same time, the hydrogen, or the speed of the vortexing, should cause a phase change, not just in the from steam into hydrogen or hydrogen into a very efficient fuel, but it should actually cause a phase change from the third state of matter to the fourth state of matter, in the same way that the Guide process converts biofuel from the third state to the fourth state. And if that was the case, you should get temperatures in excess of 3,000 degrees, say from 3,000 to 15,000 degrees. And with the spinning of the vortexing of the exhaust or level 3 flame would keep it from going into meltdown. And you'd probably see the metal of the pipes actually go into a superconductive state, to where they would thermally be able to conduct the heat, be in a state of zero resistance. I've seen this with my own eyes, so I know that it can happen, and it does happen on occasion. And but if hydrogen can be used as the fuel to trigger a fourth state generation of heat energy, just imagine the possibilities where you could actually take this and make yourself a small little gasifier, that you could take all your waste, it doesn't matter what, and convert it into a biofuel, right? And so you got Stanley Meyer's process hooked in with the Joe pipe to produce these incredible heats, and then you take that heat to produce your biofuel, where you could vaporize any kind of waste, and then you feed that to the heat processor, which takes the fuel and upgrades it into a plasma fuel to run any kind of machinery that you want to run. You know, if you got a generator set, big diesel gen set, well, now you got power for your home and for others. And so this would be the first step to preparing to get off the system. Just with the merging of these three technologies alone, that people can become self-sufficient, and people need to look at the Joe pipe a little more seriously. And I'm believing that God's going to supply the finances and the people to take it to that stage. I can't, I've done all I could myself, and I know that my priorities need not to be on these pipes, but they need to be on pressing into the Lord. Then God would bless me with the revelation knowledge of how to continue to finish or advance the Joe pipes to where you will have unlimited heat, and being the second step, and then to the third step being unlimited power. And so if you can take matter in the third state and convert it into the fourth state to produce low plasma, maybe mid-range plasma, being like a pure electrical output, then you have a generator, a stationary generator that produces all the thermal energy plus all the electrical output with no moving parts. So you're actually moving beyond the work of Tesla at this point, and you're seeing Einstein's theory actually manifested, where you're converting matter into energy, and I believe that's just the bottom of the scale, and the next phase would be to convert energy into matter, and that might be where you actually get your your power from, when you actually, because there is a phase change when you go from matter into energy. That's a phase change, and when you take that, when you condense enough energy through endothermic reaction, you also get a phase change where you get energy into matter. So when in that downflow, there'll be a major release of unlimited power. And for you out there who are intuitive, I'm sure that your minds would be quickened to understand where I'm coming from. And the technology is simple, and the way to envision the process is to keep everything simple. Because God makes things simple. He doesn't make things complicated. And so there is hope in the Joe pipe, and where the Joe pipe, the Geet process, and Stanley Meyer's work, and maybe even Daniel Dingle's work can be merged, where there's a free sharing of technology. And because we're coming to the place where we're going to have to be independent, and we may have to form these rebel communities outside the system. Because if you're living in the system, and when FEMA takes over, they're already ready to take all these millions of plastic coffins and start making people disappear, right? So, bringing down democracy, taking away our freedoms. So there has to be a revolutionary stand against the powers of darkness. Those who stand for liberty need to rise up in the power of faith, and that there needs to be a coming together and a separation from the system, to where God will protect his own people. But it's going to